Welcome to our weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
Well, happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome to our Tuesday live show. This is where some of us answer questions that you've submitted and through a variety of ways. Ideally, you submit them through whitewaterguidebook.com, and also happy to answer questions just to come up. So if you're watching this and you just want to ask a question in the comments, like I'll do that at the end or at some point. Maybe midway I'll get to those questions. But if you have questions, I sometimes get them a lot of different ways, and by Instagram message and Facebook message, and I don't check those things that often. So I might find them a month from now. Sometimes I luckily find them in time. But I highly recommend if you have a question, go to whitewaterguidebook.com. and you'll see this fun little website. And if you see a gear garage, there's an ask or question or comment. And that way we catalog it, we keep track of it, and then we'll get to the question as soon as we can. So that's the best way to have your question answered. Or if you want to answer it immediately, I have a forum here. Throw it up on the forum. You have to create a user account, and it's a little bit of a pain, but this is something like I'll do when I have time. And if it's a quick question I can answer with a link or something else, this is a good place to submit questions. So with that, let's get started with the questions. The first one is, I watched your Gear Garage episode about PFD flotation last year. My son currently uses a Cooked-Out Hustle, which has 16 pounds of flotation. I'm considering a higher flotation PFD. Any particular suggestions? Oh man, we get this question all the time. The things I don't have a great answer. That Cooked-Out Hustle is pretty sweet. It's comfortable. And I'm about to do a bigger, longer Gear Garage video about PFDs and flotation. PFDs like the Hustle, the Green Jacket, the Stolquist Descent are designed for kayakers. They sit higher. These weren't designed for rafts. We just happen to be using them for rafting. And this started a long time ago when people both rafted and kayaked. And they thought, well, I just need to own one PFD. I'll use my kayak and PFD rafting, which makes sense. I get it, especially if you're running low volume rivers that aren't continuous in your skill level. But as soon as you're running things that are big volume, or there's a good chance you'll swim, which means you're being challenged, or it's really continuous, you could go for a long swim. These like 16-pound flotation jackets aren't really that responsible to be wearing, in my opinion. And on top of that, they lose flotation over time. And then if you shove all knives and whistles, and which you should have, but all the accoutrements, the pulleys, and you have all these carabiners on them, they end up being really not that good at floating you. So I'm a big fan of medium or high flotation PFDs. Unfortunately, the PFD manufacturers don't really care to make these PFDs. They're just not motivated to. And it takes a lot of motivation because they have to go through a lot of testing and whatever. So the best one I have, I'm doing this video right now, is the NRS Guide Vest. I've been wearing it lately. It's comfortable. It's 22.9 pounds of flotation. I love this color. It's very bright. Like if I want to be found, this yellow is super visible. And it has, the thing that I like about it are the pockets. I wish this was a pullover with the front pocket like the big one the Astro Green Jacket has. These pockets here are a little bit annoying. They're decent sized, but it's hard to organize things in here. Like I like to have an internal knife. Well, I can't access it quickly like I can on a Green Jacket. So I don't know. Like I do like this for flotation, which I think is important, but I don't like the storage. Although there's plenty of it, it's not awesome. I put my flip line here, so that's not bad. But I would say if you want flotation, I would get this one's the best one you can get. The Palm Nevis in the XL has like 18 or 19 pounds. It's not U.S. Coast Guard certified, so that's a downside. Other than that, I don't have a recommendation. I wish a manufacturer made a 20-pound PFD that's like the Stolquist Descent. The Stolquist Descent is my favorite right now, more than the Green Jacket. It's just the zipper they use. I've seen it break on a few people's PFDs. Same thing with the Hustle. Like I had a Hustle for a while, and the zipper broke, and I had to send it back and get a new one, which I hate gear that breaks. So, sorry, I don't have a good answer for you here. But the best answer I have, and we get answers to this question all the time, and my best answer right now is this NRS Guide PFD. Yeah, the Bieber. This is the Bieber. We call this the Justin Bieber, and if you're rafting, this is a really smart way to go. Again, hard water, big volume, continuous, where you might go for a long swim, or if you're just big. If you're round in the front, if you're pear shaped, you have no business wearing a green jacket. I can't tell the number of people I see that are pear shaped, or the green jacket goes to like here. The green jacket it's just not appropriate. If you're pear shaped, this jacket can adjust. It can cover your pear up. It will, it's not going to sit up here like at your shoulders. You can drop it down. You want that flotation lower. So I'd highly recommend that. Hopefully that helps. If your son is, active, 145 pounds, 150, I don't know, like average, like normal sized, active, you're not doing anything crazy, that hustle is probably fine. Okay, let's move on. I'm comfortable with runs like the Middle Fork Salmon, Grand, and Rogue. Oh, let's go back. We got some comments here. We'll get to this. Yeah, thanks, Sean. Sean's referring to a members only video I posted of me getting pinned on a log. I don't want that video to go out yet to the real world, or if at all. But I did a breakdown for members that he's talking to. It was exciting. The Mustang Water Rescue, I have mixed feelings about this one. It's great. It's like 26 pounds of flotation. It's not bad. It has a handle on the back that for grabbing a rescuer. It's made for firefighters showing up to the scene. I've worn it rafting. It's fine. I have mixed feelings. If it didn't have the handle, I'd be a little bit more excited about it, and so I'm a little hesitant on that one. But it has flotation. It's just cool. The newer, I think I like the newer one too. Okay, so let's go back to this question. I'm comfortable with runs like the Middle Fork Salmon Sub 5, Grand, and the Rogue. The jump to the Illinois feels too big. In addition to a formal class, what are some good Pacific Northwest training grounds for an aspiring Illinois boater? If you are dialed on blank, then you should try the Illinois. Are there any run that fills in that blank? Yeah, I mean, the Illinois is pretty similar to the Wind. I think the Wind is the place, but it's also a big jump to the Wind, right? People that are in the Northwest, a lot of them are doing the Clackamas, maybe the Malala, maybe the Upper Klickitat, the White Salmon. It's a sizable jump from those things up to the Illinois. So I would go practice on the Wind, and I would go in a cat boat at first. Like, go with people that know it, to know the lines. I mean, it's a dangerous place. You can have problems there. If you're pear-shaped, maybe we're learning that being pear-shaped doesn't match with the Wind that well, potentially. And so the Wind is a great place to practice, get those skills. Start with a cat, then take a raft. Like, a raft is harder than a cat, but then you develop the skills you need to raft the Illinois. I also did a podcast, or not a podcast, interview. I'm Googling it right now, whitewater progression. I did a blog, here we go, about what I think is a nice progression for cat boating. It works for rowing too. And I just Googled, what did I Google? P&W whitewater progression. And it's this thing I wrote, because I've had this question a lot before, of sort of the order I would do runs in if I'm trying to get better and better and better. And it's not perfect. Some people would place things differently. You can see the Upper Clackamas is not that high on the list. I'd start moving up some of these other things. The Malala, it's probably as hard as the Clackamas. It's just different, maybe a little harder. West Fork of the Hood, the access is rough. And then I put Illinois, Upper Klamath, and Wind in the same spot. So you have these runs to practice on. The Lower Hood, Dita Tucker on the Hood, Upper Clack, lower White Salmon. I would say a variety of runs. Don't just do the Clack a million times and memorize lines, but do the Clack and try harder things. Try to make hard eddies. Try to run the rapids differently. Go to the Hood, run it a variety of different ways. Try harder lines, catch hard eddies. See a variety of rivers and challenge yourself. And then the West Fork of the Hood is a good intermediate, build up to the Illinois, but access is tough, so I'm not sure I could recommend that. And the Wind is, I have it harder than the Illinois, which I'd say they're comparable, maybe. I don't know. But maybe the Wind is a tiny bit harder. That's why I put it lower. It depends on the level, though, on both rivers. They're both, they're 1,200 on the Illinois is great. 5.4 feet on the wind is great, but higher or lower, it starts getting harder on both runs. But the wind's a day run. So if you have to hike out, you could. Where the Illinois, you're committed. Like you're doing a hard run, and hiking out is not really an option. So it takes, I think, a higher level of skill. All right, comments. The 4.6 PFD handle. Yeah, I don't know. These handles, as soon as you put a handle on a PFD that could get snagged on something, it takes it away. And I mean, if you're around wood much on rivers, you're gonna really be cautious about things in your PFD. Like people love the little carabiners hanging here. I would not wear those carabiners. Even the watch, I'm not super stoked on a watch. Could get stuck on a log if you go under a log. Having a handle in the back is just a thing to get grabbed. And the 4.6 is also for rescuers. Like they designed the 4.6 and the Mustang for rescuers. So I think they're fine, but they're really rescue PFDs, and they have too many rescue bells and whistles sometimes. The Tuolumne is a great place to practice for the Illinois. Yeah, this question was specifically about the Pacific Northwest, but man, the Tuolumne is I mean, they're pretty similar. They're pretty similar. If you can row the Tuolumne at low water, you can probably row the Illinois at low water. If you can row the Tuolumne at high water, you can probably row the Illinois at high water. Difficulty wise, they're pretty similar. Are alpaca pack rafts any good? Yeah, I mean, they're probably the best. If in terms of pack rafts, I mean, are they any good? This relative. They made of hyperlon or urethane. I don't know. I could Google it for you if you wanted me to. Or I could call alpaca for you. But you might want to just Google it yourself or call alpaca. I think it's some other material that's neither one. But I think they're seen as the gold standard for pack rafts. So I have one. I think it's great. If you like pack rafts. Yeah, the California rivers are huge. 13.5 is massive. That's for sure. Might be missing the window for most of the Pacific Northwest rivers. Yeah, I mean, everything's dying off right now. So if you go back to this list, I mean, the Klickitat is actually good right now. The Deschutes is fine. The Rogue is there. Lower Hood is dropped out. It's about to be done. Upper Clackamas is still running a little bit. The Hood's probably done. Lower White Salmon will be there all summer. I think North Fork, the Umpqua's there all summer. Middle White will be there all summer. Upper Klickitat probably has a few more weeks left. Malala, I'm guessing, is done. West Fork is done. Upper Klamath, this is the last summer to do it because you can still do it, but the last summer with reasonable flows. And I'm pretty sure the wind is done. So, yeah, it's definitely coming down to where your places to practice in the next month are probably White Salmon and Clackamas Deschutes. But there's a big jump. Going from this Malala to these last three is a sizable jump. And Mother Nature didn't make the perfect thing to go there, like the perfect stepping stone. So you have to go do harder lines on easier rapids. Like go catch eddies you wouldn't catch, make really hard ferries, go out there and surf. Yep. All right. Hopefully that helped. If you're dialed on the wind, then you should try the Illinois. The Illinois isn't something you just try. Like, let's just see how it goes. You don't really want to make mistakes out there. You can make mistakes, but it's not something you want to try. You want to go into it with confidence. And if you're learning it, you want to go with people who can show you down, can take care of you, provide some safety net, and people that boat like that. I think it's important. It's not a place you want to make a mistake. Right. You had a video review of an 18-foot boat running the middle fork around 4.5 feet a few years ago. Do you have the full video of that trip posted anywhere? Man, I have no idea. I don't think so. If you couldn't find it, I probably can't find it. Okay. Hey, folks, looking for a little advice. Doing the DIY trip on the Upper Chetco, June 9 to 14. That's 3 days from now. Curious which access you recommend. Hoping to go in via Chetco Pass, but don't know if 087 access road is open. Can't get anyone from the Forest Service coming back. Do you know? Also striking out on a shuttle. Driver is Gasquet is out for the season, and one other wreck was booked. I'm not sure what that sentence is asking me. I think I get it, but I'm not sure. One other wreck was booked. Any advice you have on this front? Appreciate any advice you have. Thanks. So I think 087 Access Road is the one from the Boy Scout camp from the Swinging Bridge. What's that called? I think I can bring up a map. I wonder if there's a map here we can look at. Let me see if I can. It's kind of fun. So the Upper Chetco is an amazing trip. It's really a special place that I think is worth checking out. But like it's a 10-mile hike in and hard. So there we go, Swinging Bridge. So sorry, I'll bring this map up. So we're looking at, there's two options. One of them is you go to the Swinging Bridge. Oh, it's called Michaela Branch. Yep, is that the place they were talking about? The 087, yeah. So this road, you can drive across here, and then you can drive up. This is a pretty nasty 4-wheel drive road up the Chetco Pass, and then down Chetco Pass. It's about maybe like a mile or less. You can drive it down and park where the wilderness boundary starts, and you can hike down Slide Creek. There's a trail that's only like 2 miles from there to the river. And the question is, how do we know when this road is open? And the answer is it's probably open. The Forest Service usually opens this June 1st, except when there's rain, because they don't want to spread the Port Orford cedar root disease. So it's probably open, but I mean, the Forest Service isn't always doing their job up to the standards we would expect them to do it, which means they don't know, or maybe they didn't send somebody out there because they had to change the staff and they don't know. But this road is supposed to be open June 1st. And I went out there once. Our first time down the Chetco, we went out there June 4th to do it, and the road gate was closed. And we hiked with our kayaks up this road, which I think it's like a couple thousand vertical feet with no shade. It was brutal. And then we only got to there's too many trees on the trail, so we camped down at Slide Creek and hiked down Slide Creek to the river. So it took us a day, basically 2 days, to get from Swinging Bridge to the Chetco. So I know this area pretty well. And I've gone in to do some trail clearing up here because I wanted better access a while ago. But this road is no joke either. Like last time I drove it was 10 years ago, and it was full on. I heard it might be worse, but this road is legit. This is not for your Subaru. This is for your legit truck. And so, but that does shorten the trail to 2 miles, the hike you have to do. The way we go, the way I feel like is more reliable, is hiking in from the Babyfoot Lake trailhead. And from here, it's 10 miles. It's just 10 miles. But the trails, I wouldn't say it's great, but there's a trail. And that way it goes. So maybe go with your 4-wheel drive and and you have your fingers crossed. See if this is open, and if it's open, go for it. The problem is, getting a shuttle driver up there, right? Like once your car's up here, how do you get it? Do you drive a shuttle driver up there? I mean, no, I don't know if a shuttle driver is going to want to drive their truck up there to get it. So I think that's a tricky thing. So once you left the car there, how do you get it back? So where the Babyfoot Lake trailhead is, it's not too bad of a drive up. If this road here is closed, it's about 40. You killed like 45 minutes. You got to go all the way back out to Highway 199 to get yourself back to the other trailhead. So hopefully that answers your question. That's kind of a lot of vague information. Oh, my camera just went off. Why does my camera keep doing that? Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the question for now. So I think for shuttle drivers, I don't know. I don't really have good advice for you. If you're talking about the driver out of Gasquet, that's Barefoot Brad. If Barefoot Brad can't do it, there's not many people that can. This is a complicated shuttle, and the takeout is no picnic. Depending on what takeout you use, I had to show Barefoot Brad that takeout. He didn't even know where it was a few years ago, and he's the guy. So this is one of those where maybe you drive your own shuttle. Like you do it yourself, like old school. I just did a trip on the North Fork of the John Day, and I'm like, let's just do our own shuttle. Do we need to hire somebody? I know it's an extra 3 or 4 hours in the car, but this one's a long shuttle. This is an extra, a lot more time in the car, but it's part of the adventure. So anyway, hopefully that helped. Yeah, good luck. And that is the last question. My camera died. Hopefully my audio is still working. But thank you all for asking questions. Thank you all for supporting the show. And for those of you, the members, I really appreciate it. And I want to thank David Champion for becoming a member. The members really help us. They provide us a little bit of income to help, buy things for the show, like better cameras. My camera seems to keep dying on me, so I might need a new camera, or drones when I crash them, or just stuff to review. So thank you for being a member. And like Sean said, we just did a really cool video of me wrapping my ducky on a log and then the ensuing rescue. So that was a members only thing. And part of the reason I do these members only videos are, one, these are videos I don't know if I really want out there in the real world. Like, they're just like, when real rescues happen, people don't know all the context and they get uppity, and it's hard to put those videos out there. So I'd like to share those to a smaller audience that is so the video is a little more private, and also just to support the members, like do something nice to the members. So yeah, that's it for this episode. See you all hopefully on the Friday show.